How do you win lucrative government contracts? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today during today's training. We're going to talk about exactly what's needed to get government contracts. We're going to talk about SBA. We're going to talk about their guide that will help you along the way. We're going to talk about the exact specifics, almost a step-by-step of what you need to do, a checklist per se of exactly what you need to do to win government contracts. Look, if you're in a business that's thinking about winning government contracts, has tried, I don't know, sounds like an interesting concept that might work for your business, you're in the right place, because I'm going to decode everything it takes to get these contracts. And sometimes these account for 7, even 8 figures in sales. I mean, they make or break certain businesses. So we got a lot to cover today. Let's dive in. So since the government is a huge consumer of goods and services, well, then any U.S. business should be trying to get a supply contract with them. Because unlike when you're working with other business-to-business customers, the government will exist as a consumer for as long as the United States exists, right? The government's always going to be buying stuff. So unlike other businesses that might go out of business and consumers that might come and go, the government's always going to be there, more than likely always buying things as well. Now, the SBA actually puts out a contracting guide to help small businesses navigate this lucrative way of being able to make money. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. So let's talk about this. Now, SBA has what they refer to as a contracting guide. And Godfrey Brooke Anderson, thanks for coming in. Love your channel, Cognition Design. Thanks for tuning in too. Thanks for saying hello. Hey, look, if you don't mind, tell me where you're from. I always like to give you a shout out and say hello. So if you don't mind, tell me the city and state that you're chiming in from, even the country that you're coming in from. So let's talk about this SBA contracting guide. Well, the benefits of this guide is that government contracts are a tremendous financial opportunity for small business, and the government, because the government buys all kinds of products and services in both large and small quantities, right? And it's required by law to consider to buying from small businesses first. So the law actually requires the government to go to small businesses to make their purchase before going anywhere else, which gives small business owners a really unique chance to capture that business. Now, the government actually wants to buy from small businesses for a lot of different reasons, right? They want to ensure that large businesses don't muscle out small businesses, right? Main Street type businesses. They also want to gain access to new ideas that small businesses provide and some more support small businesses as engines of economic development and job creation. It's why the SBA was created to begin with. It wasn't just to help us get money. It was to basically help small businesses thrive. Another reason that the government wants to buy from small business owners is to offer opportunities to disadvantaged socioeconomic groups. So if you're in minority groups, it even gives you an even greater advantage. There's percentages we've talked about before of these government contracts that are reserved just for these socioeconomic groups, or basically disadvantaged groups, minority groups in a lot of cases. Now, here's how it works. The process of requesting proposals, evaluating bids, awarding contracts by the government take place on a level playing field. That's how the rules are supposed to work. So the government should consider a bid from any qualified business. Doesn't matter how long you've been around. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you qualify to make a bid for that contract, then your bid has to be considered per the law. With set aside and sole source contracts, federal agencies must publicly list their contract opportunities. And some of these contracts are set aside exclusively for small businesses. So many things going on here. First of all, the government has to publicly list these contract opportunities. So all the stuff that's being sold to that's being bought by small businesses by the government, any of those contracts have to be listed. And this is what this SBA contracting guide is helping us determine, understand the process, and be able to get access to these contracts. Now, a lot of these contracts are set aside just for small businesses. And again, as we talked about, a lot of these contracts are set aside for socioeconomic disadvantaged groups. So in a lot of cases, minorities, right? African-American business owners, disabled veterans that own businesses, women-owned businesses, all have certain percentages of these contracts even set aside just for you to be able to tap into. So Brilliant Davis, what's up from Unbound Business Solution from Tucson, Arizona. Thanks for tuning in. And Crates Viral in the Poconos. Good. Thanks for tuning in. Brez Wheatland, Iowa. I don't see too many Iowa in here. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all coming in and saying hello. If you're just getting here, if you don't mind, if you're getting valuable content, hit the like button, even crush the share button, and make sure you tell me where you're from so I can give you a shout out, say hello. Now, in some cases, These set-aside contracts might consist of certain types of tasks on large contracts. So another entire contracts may be reserved just for small businesses. Sometimes part of the contract is set aside for small businesses, part of it's large businesses. And when a contract is set aside for one specific small business, it's called a sole source contract. So sometimes these contracts are available for multiple small businesses, sometimes small and large, sometimes just one small business where it's called a sole source contract. Now, the SBA has a role in the government contracting as well, because what happens is they work with these federal agencies. And the idea is to award 23% of prime government contract dollars to eligible small businesses. Again, we think of SBA as being the ones that help us get SBA loans. But if we look at the creation of SBA, SBA was actually created back in the 50s to help small businesses thrive, okay, to help basically free a path for small businesses to succeed. So what they're doing is to award 23%, nearly a quarter of these prime government contracts just for small businesses. Now, it also offers counseling and help small business contractors to be able to bid and get these contracts awarded. So SBA isn't just there to give us money. They're there to help, in this case, set aside nearly a quarter percent of these contract dollars for small businesses and then really guide us, small business owners, to what's needed to actually tap in to the actual government dollar. So let's talk about these contract awards. What does it take to actually win a government contract? Well, you really got to start with market research to bid and win on these contracts, because you've got to sell products or services, first of all, that the government buys, and you got to do so at a competitive price. So you want to do some market research to make sure that there's a market for your product and service and that you're competitively priced with what you're actually selling your product or service for. Now, the SBA can help you determine how big the market is, even find potential buyers. So again, SBA can help you along the way through this process. Now, next, you want to move on to what's called the Federal Procurement Data System. And this system is basically like the repository of all federal contracting data, at least for contracts over 25 grand. So with this system, you can see which agency have contract already and who they have these contracts with. You can find out what these agencies are buying. You can learn about contractors that have contracts, right? So if you're going to get contracts, one of the best ways to do it is to go look at people that already have, right? We learned that about being successful in business, where the easiest ways to succeed is look at other people that have already done what you want to do and follow their path. It's one of the easiest ways to succeed. So in this case, this actually helps you look at other contractors, look at to see what the government is actually buying, find out who they're buying it from, what those companies do. It kind of gives you a roadmap to what's already being successful so you can follow that roadmap. E.F. Scott, thanks for tuning in from Atlanta. Jacksonville's in the house. Vienna, Virginia, 2:30 Entertainment coming in. And Cognition Design from San Diego. Raul says, hey, Credit Suite, service disabled veteran and business owner looking to jump into government contracting. Any advice? Like button smash. Thanks for all you do. This is the advice. This is the step-by-step process for you to succeed. So take notes. You're watching this on YouTube. Keep a link to the video. So as you go through these steps, Raul, you will actually be able to go step by step. And again, do things like get or actually get access to the federal procurement data system as part of that process. Now, you want to take a look also at usaspending.gov. So usaspending.gov tracks government spending through the contracted awards, and it's basically a searchable database which has information on each one of these federal contracts that you might be pursuing. And you can basically use that information to identify the government purchasing trends and then kind of get in on the trend that's already there, that's already developed. Now, federal agency procurement forecasts can also be very helpful because each government agency releases a procurement forecast, and it actually includes the contracting opportunities for small businesses and what it projects it's going to do with those contracts. So make sure to review agency recurring procurement forecast and find out what these agencies are buying and link it up with what you sell, right? Again, we don't care about everything the government is buying. That's not the idea of this. The idea of all of this research is to figure out what you're buying, what you're selling, and then look specifically, sniper focus using these resources to find more about what they're buying in relation to what you're selling. What are they buying? How much are they spending? How often are they buying it? What's the forecast of them buying it in the future? Who are they buying it from now? Who are these people they're buying it from? What are their prices on their website, for example? How close to their products and services are yours? If you get a clear idea of what products and services you have and what the government is buying now, then you can look at what they're spending, how much they project to spend. The more information on the companies they're getting and awarding these contracts to now, it gives you a massive advantage to be able to get in and snag some of those contracts that they're forecasting are going to come available in the near future. Now, procurement forecasts can get extremely granular. So, for example, you can look up procurement for the Department of Veteran Affairs and then break it down by location and then see budgeted amounts for everything from asbestos abatement to buying stretchers, right? And again, in this example, if you sell stretchers, it's all you care about. Like, you can look at all of this information. And if I'm talking about this and you think this could be overwhelming, it is if you're looking at everything the government is buying and selling, or everything the government is buying. But that's not what we're looking at here. What we're looking at is at a granular level, drilling it down to what really relates to you. So in this example, if you sell stretchers, well, then it gives you, that's all you care about. You don't care about all the other stuff the government's buying. You just care about the actual stretchers. So what makes a successful contractor? Well, the government prefers to work with established, reliable businesses. And again, this comes down to a few things. It comes down, as we'll talk about improving your fundability. The things that give you credibility to lenders, credit issuers, and prospects are the exact same things that give you credibility for government contractors. So building your fundability out, establishing business credit. To even bid on a government contract, you have to have a DUNS number. You have to have it. So they're telling you, you have to be set up with the business credit reporting agencies before you even think about bidding on a contract. So it's going to show how much even the government relies on fundability, business credit, having some established business credit, being established with DMB with a DUNS number, etc., as credibility to be able to get in on these government contracts. So it means it's highly likely that startups need not apply unless you've done the things with building your business credit, improving your fundability, etc. And you got to have a track record of delivering quality goods and services on time within budget. So again, now we look at your reputation. Do you have reviews online? Are those reviews positive? Have you done other government contracts? Did you fulfill what you were supposed to fulfill as part of those contracts? Is your reputation strong within your industry? So again, this is the importance of fundability, the importance of building your business credit, the importance of managing a good business so when they look into your business, they can see you're well-established and have a great reputation. Not only can it take a long time, some things to keep in mind to get a first government contract, but it could cost some money. Okay, the time and money you put into getting your first contract sometimes exceeds $100,000, and it can take years to potentially figure this out. So you've got to have enough cash flow to sustain. You can't start a business based on the sole concept of getting in and winning a government contract, because it could take money and it could take time to make it happen. And again, they don't want you to start with them. They only want to deal with people that have a reputation of being able to fulfill what they say they're going to fulfill. So back to those points, make sure you improve your fundability. Make sure you get set up with Dun & Bradstreet, get that DUNS number, build your business credit. Make sure you're doing business, selling your products and services to other people. So again, you built this reputation of reviews so they can see that you're a reputable company. And in the interim, study what's going on. Use these resources to drill down what it is you sell to figure out what's the forecasting of whatever division of the government's going to be buying those. Who are they buying from now? What's the reputation of those companies? It gives you time to really research how to get these contracts from the government, who's getting them now, and then be able to reasonably be able to compete. Now, keeping a diverse list of private sector clients can help offset any potential initial losses. Being e-commerce savvy is also important to government contracting. For example, with the Department of Defense, having the ability to receive payments electronically is important. So that's natural in the course of doing business. But if you're starting to do business just by doing government contracts, your business isn't going to be set up the right way to probably be able to win those contracts. It's why it makes so much sense for you you to jump in and start doing business, building the reputation, building your business credit, building your customer base, while you're doing the research. So that way, in the natural course of evolution of your business, you're going to be able to have the things that they're looking for, such as being able to accept electronic payments. Charlotte, North Carolina, in the house. Thank you very much for coming in. Looking for contracts in the transportation trucking. This will help you. We've been giving you the sources of where you need to go to narrow these down. So the SBA offers counseling to small businesses as well. Let's not forget that. So one form of this comes from the procurement center representatives. Now, these PCRs help small businesses with these federal contracts. They view many of the federal acquisition procurement strategies before they're announced. This way, they can influence opportunities that should be set aside for small businesses. So they also conduct market research and help small businesses with payment issues and provide counseling on getting this. So rely on SBA. Look, one of the favorite shows I've seen, and for the record, I don't watch TV. I get like one TV show that I may watch, and I kind of watch all the episodes. And one of my favorite shows I've seen in many years is called Undercover Billionaire. And it was only the first season. I didn't think the second season was that good at all. I wouldn't even recommend or watch the second season. But the first season was phenomenal. And the guy that is the star of the show comes in to this type of center, government center, and gets all of his market research, figures out what to sell, all of this for free, just using these kind of services. So rely on these PCR reps. These SBA counseling from these PCR reps is exactly what you're looking for. These reps do all the research to help you win these contracts and will guide you beyond what you're getting in this training to actually secure these contracts. So another form of help comes from the Subcontracting Program Assistance, or SPA. Now, they can help you with subcontracting questions after the contract is awarded. They can help you with tools to match prime contractors and subcontractors, and they can help small businesses market their services to prime contractors as well. So again, another different resource to, after you procure these contracts or secure these contracts, to tap into. Now, you can also check out the SBA Learning Center. They offer free courses and they help small businesses understand more about government contracting, and they offer video classes. It is a great resource we found that can help you along the way as well. Now, you can also work with Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, or PTACs, okay? And they basically help small businesses that are interested in government contracting. They help you determine if your business is ready for government contracting. They help you register in the proper databases, and they even help you bid on these contracts. So, man, I mean, as you're seeing, I'm giving you the resources at no cost that are going to help you through this process, from what you do after you get the contracts to set yourself up here to be ready to bid on the contracts, to researching everything to know about the contracts that you actually need to be prepared to bid on. And yet another option is SCORE. Now, they're a nonprofit, and they have thousands of volunteers and business counselors around the country that help business owners with all kinds of educational workshops, amongst other resources as well. Nothing I've seen specifically for government contracts and bidding on contracts. But again, SCORE helps you in all areas of running your business. You also want to try SBA Small Business Development Centers. And by the way, when I'm telling you about Undercover Billionaire, this is exactly what he relied on. I never was familiar with these SBDCs until he went. And when he did, I was blown away. The theme of Undercover Billionaires, they give them $100 and they give them 90 days to build $1 million plus business. And he went in these SBDCs, relied on them for their computers, their tech. Okay, they did the research of the market. They helped them figure out what products to sell, every aspect of getting that business off the ground with no money, they helped him do. So these are phenomenal resources. They offer free one-on-one counseling, low-cost training services. You can go to them for procurement, contracting, computer resources, market research, okay? And they'll even provide 8 a.m. support for minority-owned businesses as well. So again, some pretty powerful resources here that can help you as you're going through this process. Now, you can also turn to SBA small business offices. Many federal agencies have what's called an Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, or OSDBU, okay, or an Office of Small Business Programs. And these offices work to identify opportunities to contract with small businesses as well. So for some other very powerful resources that can help you here as you're going through and securing these government contracts. Now, an OSDBU is responsible for promoting the use of small business, disadvantaged, women-owned, veteran-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned, and hub-zone small businesses. And we just talked about this as well. Somebody had just come in and said, hey, Raul said, hey, I'm a service-disabled veteran. Where can I go? Here's a great resource that can help you when you're in one of these categories. It's an underserved market. So within the U.S. Department of Commerce, or the DOC, acquisition process and OSBPs are meant to advocate for the inclusion of small businesses in the cleared industrial base through education and collaboration, while maximizing opportunity for small businesses as well. So again, some really good resources, especially if you're a minority-owned business, that can help you with these government contracts. Now, before a business can engage in federal contracting, you're going to need certain basic minimum requirements. I mentioned you got to have a DUNS number. You have to know your NAICS code. And keep in mind, whether or not they award you the contract is in large part based on the industry you're in and the contract you're bidding on. So you have to clearly know what your NAICS code is and have your industry be accurate and be in line with the industries they're awarding the contracts in to get those contracts awarded. You also must meet certain size requirements, okay? A small business by the government is defined as 500 employees or less, okay? And most non-manufacturing businesses with average annual receipts under 7.5 million are going to qualify as a small business. You want to register with the SAM, or the System for Award Management. That's like the database that government agencies are using to search to find these contractors. You're not going to get the contract if they can't find you. And that's how you actually get found. You also want to maintain compliance. The government's purchasing process is governed by the Federal Acquisition Regulation. So you've got to be in compliance to have any chance of getting approved, okay? Now, they allow for some deviance of the norm, and you can learn more here in the 13 CFR 125. But again, you really got to make sure that you're conforming to their regulation. If you don't, then there's a good chance that you're just not going to be awarded the actual contract. So how you win these contracts? Well, you got to find the right contracts to bid on. And we talked about this, including you using databases like the Dynamic Selling Business Search that can help you as well. You've got to market to the government. Some great places to find out what agencies or prime contractors need are Federal Procurement Data System, USAspending.gov, the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, or OSDBU, and OSBC, which is the Office of Small Business Programs. We talked about all of these individually and explain what they do. But remember, you got to find the contracts. Okay, then you got to market to them. You got to be found. And this is all the places that you can go start marketing your business to be able to get these contracts. You also want to address any objections that may arise along the way, right? So the SBA can then offer small business a chance to apply for a certification of competency. So here you can prove your business is up to the challenge. So, and as a note, a COC, or the Certificate of Competency, is only good for one contract. So you may need to reapply in the future. So a huge advantage. This is SBA way of showing the government, hey, you are competent enough to be able to actually get awarded this contract. So any of these kind of things that you can get access to, do so. It gives you a huge advantage. So types of contracts. Well, the government lists competition for certain types of contracts. Those contracts are set aside, as we mentioned, for small businesses, or sole source, which is only one business, as we discussed. And some of them are competitive. If two small businesses could do the work and provide the contract, well, the government sets aside the contract just for those businesses. Nearly always, though, this is automatic for government contracts under 150 grand. If they're all awarded to small businesses. But some set aside are openly for small businesses to participate that are made way bigger. Remember, the government has contracts in the millions or even billions of dollars that they award. The small ones under 150 grand are set aside for small businesses. But you know what? A small business can't handle $1 billion contract typically, right? That Boeing can handle. So because of that, some of those bigger contracts are awarded to some small businesses, some large businesses. Some are just set aside and taken by big businesses, depending on, what it is that's being awarded and what you'd have to actually be able to fulfill that contract. So sole source set aside contracts, some contracts can be issued without a competitive bidding process. And it usually happens when only a single business can fulfill the requirements of that contract. To be considered for a sole source contract, register your business with the System for Award Management, which you talked about, and participate in a contracting program you may qualify for, like 8A Business Development or Women-Owned Small Businesses. Look, guys, let's talk about this, because the reality is I've seen on Shark Tank more than one time, and I've had people in my circle more than one time overnight build multi-seven-figure businesses because of being awarded one government contract. And I've heard some crazy stories of people that get awarded government contracts when their business is really nowhere big enough to be able to deliver that. And they're massively hiring and scaling just to be able to fill the contract. So what I'm saying is that I've seen, and we've seen on TV with Shark Tank, seven-figure businesses overnight be created just based on these government contracts. It's why this training and these steps are so important to be able to come in and be able to succeed. Okay, so let me see here. If you've got other questions, I want to make sure all your questions are answered. All right, so to recap, government, huge consumer of goods and services, right? And being able to supply them what they need could be very lucrative for you, okay? Because they're unlikely to go out of business. And if you do a good job, there's a good chance you can continue to get future contracts from them as well. Now, the SBA provides extensive guidance on how to be able to get these contracts. And there's a lot of special programs, a lot of additional assistance and organizations that can help you along the way that we've talked about. Now, next time we're going to talk about credit union direct lending as well, pros and cons, whether or not that can work for you. If we can help you along the way of getting business credit financing, let us know. And feel free to give us a call for a consultation. You can give us a call right here at 877-600-2487. You can email us info@creditsuite.com. You can also schedule online at creditsuite.com/consult. 3 things we do on a consultation with us. 1, we do a fundability assessment. We help you fix things that are preventing you from getting money because you're not fundable, and that helps you with bidding on government contracts as well. If you do have business credit reports, we will get you to a place where you can get your credit reports for free at no cost. You have to actually take the steps to get them because of the way the monitoring is set up, but we get them for you at no cost. And then we'll do a funding qualification to tell you all the funding you qualify for now. It all happens on a consultation. Give us a call or go to creditsuite.com/consult for that. And if you got value, hit the like button, hit the love button, subscribe to get more info, and go to the top right of our site, creditsuite.com. We have daily tips on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, thousands of videos on YouTube, a podcast you can listen on the go, and all of our resources are like this. They're designed to help you get really money to be able to grow your business. And we can't really talk about getting money without winning these kind of government contracts. So again, if you got like this, make sure you like and subscribe on our other channels. And I look forward to talking to you more in the future about more cool ways to get money to start and grow your business. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.